Hi there, everybody. This is Carrie Hamblen, the CEO and president of the Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce, coming to you again with another one of our popular Zoom chats, things that we offer to our member businesses and our organizations to help uplift what they're doing in the community. And today, I am so excited to talk to Vanessa Uzueta, who is the Health and Nutrition Manager. She leads the summer food program for FYI Plus. Now, just to give you a heads up, FYI sponsors the Summer Food Service Program. It's called SFSP in Las Cruces. And it's really, really important right now. And Vanessa, I am so glad that you are here to talk with us about this program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
So you've got your hands full. I mean, you've had to mute your phone because as we are recording this, the program is ongoing and people are needing help. So I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time. Tell me about how the food program started.
So it originally started in 1968, and it was a program to ensure children 1 to 18 continue to get nutritious meals when school was out of session. Here at FYI, they actually started, I couldn't pinpoint an exact year, but they started in the mid 80s here at Families and Youth.
Mm-hmm. And so that's, I mean, you know, the thing is that we know that kids at least are going to get one meal when they go to school. But there are so many kids who don't have that access. And when they go home, there's not a lot of food. So that's why a program like this is really important, right?
Yes. And we have actually grown where we are actually serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner at various locations.
Oh, wow. Wow. You know, there's part of me that's so super grateful about that. And then there's a part of me that's very sad because there's food scarcity happening. People don't have access to food. And so with this, and this is kind of going a little bit off script, I mean, how have you seen this program? I mean, obviously you're expanding to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How's that been going, especially during the pandemic?
So during the pandemic, we did notice a big increase. Everybody kind of panicked a little bit. So we were seeing an influx of numbers. We had a lot of waivers that were put into place, like a parent pickup and grab and go. We were actually serving breakfast and lunch combination at most of our sites. And so they would come through about 10:30, come get breakfast and lunch, and they were needing to save the breakfast for the next morning, and then the cycle would repeat for the next day. At some sites, we were serving upwards of 100 to 150 meals, which was incredible.
And how many sites do you have around the county?
Right now, we are running 32 sites.
So that's on average 100 meals at 32 at some sites.
Yeah, well, that was during the pandemic. Now our average is about 30 to 40 at most of the sites because the rules have changed just a little bit. So before it was a grab and go or a parent pickup situation, now the children actually have to sit and eat in the park. So we kind of went back to the pre-pandemic rules. So people have to sit and eat at the park. And for some, that could be difficult. But that's something that is state mandated.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not something that I came up with. That is actually a state mandated rule where they do have to sit and eat at the park.
Is that something that we need to work on off recording?
I think so, yes.
Okay, because that seems problematic because you're kind of required. Okay, we can go on and on, I'm sure about that. And so with this though, you know, so during the pandemic, you know, you had the grab and go. I mean, that like most businesses and organizations, there was a lot of logistical things that you really had to kind of embrace really quickly. How did you do that for the food program?
So we got the call March 13th from the actual public schools, and they said, we need to get together. We need to figure out how we're going to feed these kids while they're in remote learning. From our understanding that day, it was only supposed to be for 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into 18 months. So on the fly, starting Monday, March 16th, 2020, we're like, well, I don't have any staff hired right now. So actually AmeriCorps, they stepped in and they helped me tremendously get out, deliver meals, serve meals throughout the community. Then we were kind of noticing that there was some places that needed more service than others, or people couldn't get to certain places. So what we did, working really closely with Las Cruces Public Schools, is they decided that they were going to serve at all of their schools. We decided we would pick up parks in between the schools and set up there.
Okay.
So we tried to provide as much meal service and as much meals out there as possible during the pandemic.
That's a lot of work. And so do you find that there are some things though that I mean, a lot of businesses are finding that like there are certain things that were kind of forced during the pandemic that they're like now making a part of their regular business and how they do things. Are you finding that there's some things there that actually were probably a good thing?
Yeah, like the grab and go situation, the parent pickup situation, I think it was wonderful. I believe that we were feeding more children that way than we are having to stay in the parks.
Mhm.
I believe that there is some families out there that parents work. Some of these kids stay home. They stay home by themselves. They can't walk to the park. They can't get a ride to the park. We were having neighbors pick up meals for kids in their neighborhood.
Mm.
Some would come up and pick 10 to 15 meals and say, you know what, I have kids down the road. Their parents are working right now. Can I pick up their meals? And of course, the answer was yes, because we're providing meals for children 1 to 18. Um, I'm hoping that in some sort of way, that logistic could come back into play. Maybe having the kids present in the vehicle, maybe having some kind of form of identification when they come pick up the meals, something, school ID. We're hoping
Yeah.
that maybe something can change.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking like registering, but then we have access to the internet and we have, I mean, there are a whole bunch of different
Mhm.
complicated conversations to have about making sure that people get food and healthy
Yes,
food. Because
yes,
as a nutrition person, I mean, your title is the health and nutrition manager. You know, I think so many of us would take for granted the fact that, you know, we can have breakfast in our homes, and not have to worry about it and not have to worry about how it affects the rest of our day. But there really is a lot of science behind kids having healthy meals to help them develop properly, right? I mean, can you
yeah,
explain a little bit more about that?
yeah, and it's just not the growth. It's also their brain function. They find even in school, kids that are fed well learn better because they're not worrying about where their next meal's coming from. They're not worried about, am I going to get to eat today? What is to eat today? And we also find that sometimes nutritious food is more expensive than the bad foods per se. Exactly. Yeah. So we like that we give free access to fruits, vegetables, whole grain, meats, and milk. You know, especially now that prices of things of goods are going up, you know, it's a good opportunity for kids to get out and try new things that they might not try at home because they don't have the access or they don't have the funds to get the healthy, nutritious things that they need.
Right. And you know, it's so crucial, and I think so many of us forget. I mean, you know, I think there are times where we're like, okay, I haven't had breakfast and my stomach is growling and I'm a little crabby. But when you start thinking about like families of kids, just because of whatever circumstances that they have, that they may not eat for a couple days.
Yeah.
And so,
And yeah, and it's difficult. So, I mean, during the summer months, we try to provide as much meal service as possible. We even do a meal service on Sundays at Music in the Park at Apodaca Park.
oh,
So at least for one day, there's access to some kind of meals.
yeah.
We've been having a pretty good turnout. About 50 kids show up there. I don't know if it's advertised enough or we need to do a better job getting the word out.
Hmm. So with that, on that like nice little segue that you just provided, how do people get involved in this program? If number one, if they are in need of healthy food, and number two, if folks want to help.
So if they want to be involved in the program, there's no registration necessary. But on our Facebook page, we do have a list of parks that we serve at Monday through Friday. Also on that list, there is dinner sites and there is also sites that we serve it on Sunday. Um, to be involved, I really don't have a way for volunteers, but we do accept donations. Any type of donations, monetary donations are greatly accepted. Unfortunately, we don't accept any kind of food donations because we do have people that do prepare the meals and they have to abide by, of course, state regulations.
Right.
But donations are always welcome.
That's great. And so we'll have that. So the donations, can I provide your contact information for the donations?
Yes, yes, of
Okay.
course.
So, and what we'll do is if you're watching this and you'd like to help out, either by helping with a donation, as a business, maybe helping support FYI in their efforts, I'm sure that there are opportunities that Vanessa and Brian can kind of come up with. to help get those businesses involved. And also, if you feel that if you know somebody, if you or anybody in your family would like to take part in getting those free nutritious meals, that information is going to be either above or below, all depending on how you're looking at this. Vanessa, I'm so glad. I mean, I think you and I have opportunities for more conversations, but I'm really glad at what you're doing. We're recording this at noon, and so it's a busy time for you. So thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Vanessa is the health and nutrition manager who leads the summer food program for FYI Plus. Thank you so much. If you're a member of the Green Chamber and would like to do a Zoom chat to help uplift your business or organization, contact me here on the Facebook page. We'll be more than happy to schedule that. And Vanessa, I know I'm going to see you out and about, but thank you so much and have a great day.
Yes, thank you.